Skirk is one of the strongest DPS in Genshin Impact. Here's what you need to know. Starting off with her kits, it's honestly pretty simple. You can press her skill to enter a state that infuses and powers up her basic attacks with cryo. This state lasts for a pretty short period of time, but you can extend its duration by either using her charge attack, holding her skill, or preferably by using her mini ultimate to consume the rifts, because it enhances her normal attacks. You can spawn up to 3 of these rifts by applying hydro or cryo to enemies that have a cryo or hydro aura. You can also hold instead of pressing her skill to consume rifts and unlock her powerful and quick ultimate, which will allow her to act as a dual/Nuke-DPS that can quickly switch in, do a ton of damage, then quickly switch out. Also, for the most controversial part of her kit, you're gonna want her to have 3 cryo or hydro teammates because she gets 1 of 3 stacks per ally that increase her damage multipliers, and having the entire team be hydro or cryo will increase the entire team's skill level by 1, so having a full team of hydro and cryo characters will increase her damage by a ridiculous amount. Now, a massive reason for why this aspect of her kit is so controversial is because most free-to-play hydro and cryo characters are pretty bad for Skirk, so typically you're gonna need a full team of premium characters like Furina, Shanha, Silali, Yelan, and especially Escoffier for her to be considered quote-unquote one of the strongest DPS in Genshin Impact. And if you don't have a full team of 5-star hydro and cryo characters, well then you're gonna have to pull a mythology and rigorously train Skirk day and night. Now, how do you actually use Skirk? Well, Skirk actually has 2 unique playstyles. She has a main DPS playstyle for when she's using her normal attacks, and she has a dual/Nuke-DPS playstyle for when she's using her ultimate. For a main DPS Skirk rotation, you'll typically just want to use all of your allies' skills and ultimates, so that they can do cryo or hydro damage to activate her talent, and so that they can set up their supportive abilities. Then you're gonna want to tap Skirk's skill and just spam her normal attacks while using her mini ultimate and charge attack every time you have 3 void rifts like a same person. Now, if you're anything like me and you absolutely love Skirk's massive damage, well then to maximize her massive damage, you're gonna want to do her most optimal rotation. For this combo, you're gonna want to do 2 normal attacks, then dodge, then do 2 more normal attacks, then dodge again. After that, there should be at least 3 void rifts, so you're gonna want to do 3 normal attacks, then use your mini ultimate to consume the rifts. After that, you're gonna want to do 2 normal attacks, then dodge, then do 2 more normal attacks, then dodge again. Then you're gonna want to do 3 normal attacks, then move forward just a bit around the time that Skirk lands on the ground with her animation, so that you can reset her normal attack chain. After that, you're simply gonna want to spam this until her skill duration runs out. Now, for a dual/Nuke-DPS Skirk in a team like this, you're gonna want to use Furina's skill and ultimate. Then you're gonna want to use Escoffier's skill and ultimate, so that you can generate a bunch of fanfare stacks for Furina's ultimate. After that, you're gonna want to use Nuvilette's ultimate and do 2 charge attacks, so that you can charge up Furina's ultimate damage boost as much as possible. Then you're gonna want to switch to Skirk, hold her skill near her rifts, then use her powerful ultimate. After that, you restart the rotation, but this time you want to use Nuvilette's skill at the start to spawn hydro droplets, then use the skill again whenever it's his turn so that he can do 2 charge attacks to charge up Furina's ultimate. For her skill priorities, you're gonna want to level up her skill or ultimate, depending on whether you want to focus more on her main DPS or nuke/dual DPS playstyle. For her artifacts, she's gonna want the Finale of the Deep set, because it provides a 15% cryo damage bonus for its 2-piece bonus, and it provides either a normal attack or ultimate 60% damage boost depending on whether she's going to be a main DPS or a nuke/dual DPS. She can also use the Marushusei set if she's being ran with Furina, because it provides a 15% normal attack damage bonus for its 2-piece bonus and a 36% crit rate boost for its 4-piece bonus whenever the user's HP constantly fluctuates. She can also use the Blizzard set if you're facing enemies that can get frozen, because it provides a 15% cryo damage bonus for its 2-piece bonus, a 20% crit rate bonus against enemies with a cryo aura, and an additional 20% crit rate bonus against enemies that are frozen, so you should probably get her a crit damage circlet if you're using the set. For her main stats, she's gonna want attack percentage for her sands, cryo damage over attack percentage for her goblets, and crit over attack percentage for her circlets. She's also gonna want crit then attack percentage for her substats. For her weapons, her signature will be her best with the Primordial Jade Cutter, the Haran, and the Mist Splitter Reforged being her next best alternatives that'll increase her DPS by around 10 to 20% less than her signature. You can also use the Calamity, the Finale, or any crit main stat weapon because they'll increase her DPS by around 20 to 25% less than her signature. You can also use the Black Sword, the Kagotsurubi Ishin, or the Black Cliff because they increase her DPS by around 25 to 30% less than her signature. And you can use the Harbinger of Dawn because it increases her DPS by around 35% less than her signature. For her teams, like I said, she's gonna want a full team of Hydro and Cryo characters. Her best support by far is going to be Escoffier. This is because Escoffier can reduce the enemy's resistances to Hydro and Cryo attacks by 55% when the team is filled with Hydro or Cryo characters, and she damages them with her skill or ultimate. She can also do pretty respectable sub DPS, and she can do a big burst of healing for the entire team and can heal the active character for a bit when she uses her ultimate, which will let her act as the team's sustainer, and it'll let her synergize with Skirk's other best support, Furina. This is because Furina can provide massive team-wide damage bonuses after allies take damage or heal, which Escoffier can help with tremendously. She can also do respectable sub DPS, same as Escoffier, which will actually do considerably more damage in a Skirk team than in other teams, because Escoffier's permanent Cryo and Hydro Rest Red and Furina's team-wide damage bonuses will actually consistently buff Escoffier and Furina's sub DPS, unlike Bennett or Ayantan's attack buffs that are popular amplifying effects in other meta teams. She can also use Yelan because she can also do respectable sub DPS and provide decent damage bonuses that typically average out to a 20% damage bonus to the active character. She can also use Shenhe because she can provide decent Cryo Rest Red and a decent Cryo damage bonus. She can also provide ultimate and skill damage bonuses that'll both be good for either one of her playstyles, and she provides damage bonuses that pretty much act as additional instances of damage. She can also use Hilali because she can use the Cinder City set to provide a 40% Cryo and Hydro damage bonus for the entire team. She can also lower the enemy's Hydro resistances by 20%, and she can provide a decent shield that'll mostly provide interruption resistance against a couple of attacks rather than guarantee your safety. You can also use Nubilet if you want to use her as a dual DPS because he synergizes really well with Furina, who again is Skirk's second best support, but you can also use Risley or Ayaka, with Risley needing way more on fuel time than Ayaka. For other alternatives, Qingchuo will be your best bet if you need budget options, because he can do pretty good sub DPS, and he can provide interruption resistance alongside a bit of healing. But other than him, you can pretty much use any other Cryo or Hydro character, and you'll end up doing relatively the same amount of damage. For her Constellations, her C1 will increase her DPS by around 25%, because it does a massive chunk of damage after collecting a Void Rift. Her C2 will increase her DPS by around 22%, because it'll increase her ultimate's damage and it'll provide a 70% attack bonus when she taps her skill. Her C3 won't increase her DPS when she's using her normal attacks, because it only levels up her ultimate, but it should increase her DPS by around 15% if she's using her ultimate. Her C4 will increase her DPS by around 17%, because it provides a 40% attack bonus when the team is only Hydro and Cryo. Her C5 will increase her DPS by around 27%, because it'll increase her skills levels by 3, and her C6 will increase her DPS by around 45%, because it'll increase her ultimate's damage, and it'll let her do additional instances of damage, one for each Void Rift she consumes, when she does normal attacks or when she gets hits in her enhanced states. For my investment recommendations, I recommend getting her R1, then her C1, then her C2. This is simply because typically getting her R1 will be better than getting her C1, and getting her to C1 R1 will be better than getting her to C2 R0. Now, should you summon on Skirk? Well, from a meta perspective, I would only summon on Skirk if you can guarantee a full team of 5-star Hydro or Cryo characters, with Escoffier being necessary. But if you don't have a full team of 5-star Hydro or Cryo characters, well then I'm sorry to say that Skirk just isn't worth it from a meta perspective, because she desperately needs to get wheelchaired, not because she lost her legs while training, but because she needs a full team of 5-star Hydro and Cryo characters for her to do viable levels of damage. Anyways, that's it for today. Goodbye.